How you doing? Frankie Russo pre-show number 78. What's up, my peeps? Crazy week, man. You know the Dow hit the worst trading day of the year, 500. Crazy stuff going on. Saw Donald tonight. Unbelievable. We're going to talk about him on the live show, man. That's my gangster, Donald. So before I get into the pre-show, I just want everybody to see this. America's Team, RussoNation.tv or America's Team.today. You go there, you join, and you get a t-shirt, okay? Frankie Russo, you got to go there and join America's Team because we're bringing it back over here. Okay, good. So now we're going into the pre-show. So I had a little thing with my computer. My laptop crashed. I had to do a switch on the lap. I got this other thing with within the console over here in the studio at 77 WABC. We're right there. It's about 11:52. Get ready to pop at 1:06 in the morning. So I've been fooling around with this thing, and I think I got it good. You know, like I've been saying all along, the Obama administration, the executive branch of the United States government is a criminal enterprise. The Obama administration with the Clinton Foundation, when they signed off, I had to turn those dials. It's been a crazy day. So please bear with me. I love this pre-show. I'm really starting to dig it. I got all my stuff. I got a few articles to support what I'm doing. I'm kind of digging this, man. I think I got something over here. I want to share with y'all. Okay. So instead of the top of this outline that I'm going to draw, I got the middle. In the middle on the top, I got New Iran. So for the last 6 years or so, things have been changing. Okay, almost 7 years with Obama, illegal president. We know that. Fraudulent selective service cards, statistically significant. Sheriff Joe and the Cole posse. We know this. So follow me. We got in the middle at the top of this outline, we got New Iran. We have an economically, is that right? What economically prosperous, big word. 2, nuclear capable. Keep that on the top. To the left, I'm going to show you this. To the left, I got Obama. Illegal prez. Right? And we know why. Sheriff Joe, Cole posse, fraudulent selective service card. We believe it's statistically significant. And then we got, so this is Obama, legal president, Obama administration, Obama and the Obama administration, the executive branch, right? And then we got, then I'm going to make this like this, you see. Yeah. I'm going to make this like this because it's really one. because then we got the Clinton Foundation. Memorandum of Understanding in 2008. Boom. Right? And then we got Russia on the other side. Russia. Russia. So besides, and I say this every week, besides the imploding arms to Iran. Okay? Now, before I go down, here's what we got so far. This is the way I see this right now. Okay? Obama, legal president, member of understanding with the Clinton Foundation. That's Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Cyril Mills, Huma Abedin. The new Iran. Economically prosperous, nuclear capable. Russia arms to Iran. Okay? So far, that's what we're headed on the top. Now, I'm going to go below the new Iran, economically prosperous. I'm going to do this. Because this is crazy, man. You know? This is crazy. Oh, but bear with me, please. So now we got this thing called the Global Terror Network. Headed by Iran. Global Terror Network, headed by Iran. And we got the IRC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard, IRGC. We got the Quad Force. We got General Soleimani. Right? Then we got the Alevi Foundation. We got Asa Corporation. We got Bank Melli. Of Iran. And then we got Al Qaeda. Iran Nexus. We got Afghan, Taliban, Iran connection. We got Hamas, Iran, and we got Hezbollah, Iran. Now, under the Clinton Foundation, okay, so from here, on the left of this global terrorist network, I'm going to show this to you in a minute, is 650 Fifth Avenue. Over here, Blind Sheikh's Mosque. So, before Blind Sheikh's Mosque. So here's where we go now. Here's where we're going with this. All right. So far we got, almost fell. All right. Obama administration, illegal president, Sheriff Joe, Colt Posse, statistically significant. Memorandum of Understanding in 2008, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Cheryl Mills. She was called into the Benghazi hearings with Trey Gowdy, Huma Abedin, Rosa Jackson from the Obama administration. Rosa Jackson is on the board of the Clinton Foundation. Cheryl Mills is on the board of the Clinton Foundation. Cheryl Mills was the chief of staff of the Secretary of State's office, Hillary Clinton. And here's the State Department. Okay? So then we got the Blind Sheikh's Mosque, the Alevi Foundation, which is in the Global Terror Network, gave the Blind Sheikh's Mosque $1.4 million. The Global Terror Network gave the Clinton Foundation, donated $105,000. Right? So then we got at the Blind Sheikh, we got 1993 World Trade Center bombing. We got the 9/11 terrorist attacks. We got the plot to bomb UN, George Washington Bridge, 26 Federal Plaza, 26 Federal Plaza, UN, Lincoln Tunnel, Holland Tunnel. That was the Blind Sheikh, Muhammad al-Nooni from the Jersey City Mosque. So this is all going on. This is all from the Global Terror Network, which encompasses the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the Quad Force, the General Soleimani, Alevi Foundation, Astor Corporation, Bank Melli of Iran, Al-Qaeda Iran Nexus, Afghan Taliban Iran connection, Hamas Iran connection, and Hezbollah Iran connection. So if you go to investigativeproject.org/cases, and you look at all the cases and you see what terrorist group is involved in each of those cases, and it's a slew of them. There's got to be, like, forget the amount of cases. Let's say hundreds. They all deal with Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran. So you might as well just say, quite frankly, they deal with statistically significant. We go through those cases, they deal with Iran. All those cases, Iran's got something to do with them in some way, whether they're materially supporting, financing, or actually directly involved in the terror attacks. Crazy stuff. All right, so then we got the Yemen sheiks from the Blind Sheiks Mosque. They were in the Hamas financing 21 million to Al Qaeda, 5 million to Hamas, found guilty. Then we got the Brooklyn ice cream parlor. The Brooklyn ice cream parlor. Like we said earlier, they had 21 million. FBI came into the hypothetically came into this Brooklyn, Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn ice cream parlor. You're sitting there eating a frap. The four FBI agents say, "Who's the owner of this establishment?" They have $21 million in this small ice cream parlor in Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn. $21 million in their bank account came from 10 feeder accounts going out to 16 accounts in 16 different countries to support terror. Crazy stuff. That's a front. Brooklyn ice cream parlor in Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn. Then they had this, they had the ice cream parlor, the Yemen Sheik. Yeah, I think I touched all of it. And then we got the Holy Land Foundation trial. Holy Land Foundation trial. So that deals with Hamas financing as well. The biggest money laundering scheme, Holy Land Foundation trial, the biggest money laundering scheme for terror in this nation's history. 246 Muslim Brotherhood front organizations. That means CARE, ISNA, Islamic Society in North America, NAIT, North American Islamic Trust. All these organizations were fronting for the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood would come over, like we discussed earlier on the live show, they come over from different parts of the world. A lot of them come from, like, the Blind Sheik came from Egypt. Abu Alima came from Egypt. It was through the egregious, according, like, the Blind Sheik. He was on 3 terror watch lists. I mentioned this last week or the week before. He was on 3 terror watch lists. And according to Andrew McCarthy, prosecutor, Andrew McCarthy, the egregious errors of the immigration authorities enabled the Blind Sheik to get into the United States and stay in the United States. Crazy stuff. He's on 3 terror watch lists. He was almost deported numerous times. And Abu Alima was during the amnesty program when if you were a farmer, an immigrant, if you were an immigrant farmer, then you could stay in America. And he was able to fugazi his way into that, and he ended up going into becoming a chauffeur, ended up getting a license, and he ended up in 1995 being convicted as a major perpetrator of the World Trade Center bombing. So what I'm trying to say is that that's what we got. You know, they come in from all over, and they're coming here, and whether they're either illegal immigrants or they're birthright citizenship, which is, there's 2 of them, and I'm going to talk about them on a live show. So we can argue whether, well, they're saying, well, that's anecdotal information. It hasn't, it hasn't gone through the sniff test where you had a random sample and to look and test for statistical significance within the data, within the random sample. Then you can draw a conclusion or see if there's any trends with the data to see if a lot of these illegal immigrants do become terrorists. To me, you got 4 people that are either legal immigrants or got their citizenship through birthright citizenship, where their parents were illegal immigrants and they were just born in America. Either way, there's no such thing as an outlier when it comes to killing Americans, in my world. So if we go through a random sample of a few thousand, a few 100,000, I don't know what the proper number would be for the random sample to make some to draw some conclusions and some inferences from the overall population of the illegal immigrants. If it's 4 of them that kill Americans, they're not outliers. That's just too much in my world. The truth be told. But anyway, to stay on this. So this is where we're at, and this is where we're at. This is like, to me, to understand this, how, because down here is America, the greatest country in the world. How did we get to 18 trillion in debt? We get bombed and bombed and bombed, and the borders are still open. In addition, Obamacare, another albatross on the economy, a bankrupt government bailing out a bankrupt banking system. 90 plus, 90 mil plus unemployed, and we have more illegals than unemployed. So we have on the bottom, of this outline, America, the powerhouse, the superpower, 200 plus years in existence, the greatest nation in the world, the most giving nation in the world. I love my country, but this is where we're headed. $18 trillion debt, borders still open, they bomb us, they come in through the former immigration in the amnesty plan that Abu Alima, the blind sheik, was on 3 terror watch lists, and according to prosecutor Andrew McCarthy, it's due to the egregious errors of the immigration authorities. He gets in, and there's the birthright citizens. That issue, I mean, it's crazy. They come here, they give birth to citizens. This country stands for something. If our armed forces, people who go and give their lives up overseas, people who are fighting for our freedom, they lose their limbs, they lose their lives. And we make citizenship so easy. And now it's my understanding that the Pledge of Allegiance may be in question. The oath of the Pledge of Allegiance, the oath of allegiance, it may be in question as far as part of the citizenship. This is crazy. The greatest nation in the world, America. I love my country, but it's funny, Obama, our illegal president. This is where I have this right now. I got Obama, legal president, member of the Senate Clinton Foundation, State Department, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Cheryl Mills, Huma Abedin, Rosa Jackson, right? Next to it, a new Iran, economically prosperous, nuclear capable. Russia, remember when Obama was caught off mic telling that dude, I don't know who that cat was, but telling that dude to tell Putin that after my election. So maybe this was because of the Clinton Foundation. Russia's given arms to Iran. The Clinton Foundation is involved in Uranium One. I got to get that article. I want to go over that. I don't know if we're going to do it tonight. I did it last week, but I'm going to bring it into this because this is really interesting. Because this is what I got. You see, because to me, to have this make sense, okay? Because I'm getting ready to close out. President Clinton, October 21st, 1998, blocked. He signed the Omnibus Bill 1999. Section 117 was included in that bill, which enabled Americans to garner recovery from these terrorist attacks. In other words, to go after the assets of these terrorist regimes. Well, the same day, President Clinton did 99-1 to block. He did 99-1, presidential determination 99-1, October 21st, 1998. If you don't believe me, look it up. And he waived the requirement of Section 117, which dealt with families who are families of the victims of these terrorist attacks, enable them to go get assets like 650 Fifth Avenue, which is owned by the Iranians. It was owned by the Shah. When the Shah went into exile, the mullahs took over. So Clinton blocked the Americans he waived it and blocked under national security. So that's one. And you know that Obama is doing the same thing with the Palestinian. I got to find the article, but Obama is doing the same thing with the Palestinian territories. That Americans are trying to, from the suicide bombings in the Palestinian territories and the Gaza and all around those areas, Americans that were over there are getting attacked by the terrorists, and they're trying to go into American courts to go after the assets of the Palestinian Authority government and these terrorist entities. And Obama blocked them, saying that it would cripple the Palestinians. Are you kidding me over here? So I'm saying. So I believe that Clinton, when he left office, when he did that October 21st, 1998 presidential determination, was the beginning of him becoming an agent of Iran. And him being an agent of Iran, his wife became a United States Senator, and from there they went into a memorandum of understanding with the Obama administration on December 2008. And this is where things get crazy, because the Alevi Foundation gave the Clinton Foundation $105,000, and they didn't return it. And it was, all these different, and I got all these different people saying it's legal. I just don't believe, because under 1322.4 W's executive order, if you know that the entity that's giving you the money is a terrorist entity, it's a prohibited transaction. And based on all the data that I've accumulated, I don't know how they don't know that. I just don't know. Because they gave the Alevi Foundation, Asa Corporation, and Bank Melli of Iran gave $105,000 to the Clinton Foundation. This is the Global Terror Network. And in addition, they gave $104 million to the Blind Sheikh's Mosque. Now, the Blind Sheikh's Mosque, so because just so you understand, this global terrorist network, which is headed by Iran, gives the Clinton Foundation $105,000. And don't forget now, 650 Fifth Avenue was owned by the Iranian government, deemed by court papers in the judge's decision. So this is statistically significant. They had to forfeit. The property was seized by the United States government. They had to forfeit the property. So this is crazy stuff, right? The Global Terror Network gave the Blind Sheikh's Mosque, according to three sources, $1.4 million. And what came out of the Blind Sheikh's Mosque? 1993 World Trade Center bombing. September 11th, 2001 terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. Yemen sheiks funneling millions to Al Qaeda and Hamas. The Al-Rani ring with the Brooklyn ice cream parlor was funneling upwards of $20 million from this small ice cream parlor in Flatbush Avenue, Brooklyn, out to, what was it, 10 feeder accounts in 16 different countries. From 10 feeder accounts, they put in $21 million into the ice cream parlor account. And from that ice cream parlor account, it went out to 16 different countries to fund terror. And then you got the Holy Land Foundation trial, which is the biggest money laundering scheme, bigger than the 650 Fifth Avenue, which was a big money laundering scheme with property that was seized and forfeited by the United States government. Now, you got this global terror network. Now, this is where things because of now. Before I'm not going to get into all tonight. I'm going to next week. I'm going to get into more of the details of this IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and the Quad Force, the special forces of the IRGC, which is headed by none other than General Soleimani. But this is the global terror network. This is the network. Just go to investigative.org/cases, and you see all the cases there. It's hundreds. It's either Al Qaeda is involved, Hamas, Hezbollah, or Iran. Now, understand something. The global terror network deals with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Quad Force headed by General Soleimani, the Alevi Foundation, Assa Corporation, Bank Melli of Iran. You got Iran, Al Qaeda Iran nexus. You got Afghan Taliban Iran connection, Hamas Iran, Hezbollah Iran. Now, the Al Qaeda Iran connection is statistically significant. September 11, 2001, it was proven in court papers, a judge's decision, that Iran was behind the terrorist attack of 9/11, 2001. The attacks, they were directly, materially involved in before, during, and after the Al Qaeda attacks on the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. It was deemed in court papers. A $6 billion reward was granted to the plaintiffs against Iran. Crazy, right? Unbelievable. And so it proves that there's this. It's one more proof, because there's others too, and I'll bring them out another time because I'm running out of time. But the Al Qaeda Iran nexus is real. So there is the reason why I'm bringing up the Iran Al Qaeda, because just to give you a quick overview, Iran is considered the Shia sect. I'm not an expert in this Islamic culture thing, so don't get it twisted. I just, from my reading, Iran is the Shia, represents the Shia sect of this Islamic thing, and then you got Al Qaeda, which is in all mainstream intelligence, is the militant branch of Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas is the Palestinian branch of Muslim Brotherhood, and basically, overall, according to all intelligence, Muslim Brotherhood is predominantly Sunni. So Sunni is considered like the fundamentalists. They deal strictly with the Islamic jurisprudence doctrine, and the Shiites are basically secular. So one thinks it's better than the other, or whatever. I don't know. But there's supposedly, outside this global terror network, there's supposedly strife. And I'm not saying it's not real, but I know one thing. Within this global terror network, there's a connection between the Sunni and the Shiite. Outside that, we can debate it. Inside that, it's indisputable. I'm just using 9/11, but there's other instances where I'm going to show, not tonight though. Okay, Hamas, we know. Hamas is Iran. They fund it, and it's proven through the Treasury Department, 2002, 2006, $100 million to Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard from Bank Melli of Iran. And that's why Bank Melli has been deemed a terrorist entity. It's in the Treasury Department's press release. So there. So that's statistically significant. And Hezbollah, which deals with Lebanon, that's the terrorism arm of Iran. So, in addition, there's CARE, there's ISNA, which I believe, these are CARE, Council of Arabic Islamic Relations, if I'm not mistaken. ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, and there's NAIT, North American Islamic Trust. Now, these entities were unindicted co-conspirators in the biggest money laundering scheme for terror in this nation's history, the Holy Land Foundation trial. And some people were indicted in 2007, I think in 2008, and then this whole case came before the bomber Justice Department. Eric Holder is the United States Attorney General. And the judge's ruling came down that there's ample evidence that these 246 Muslim Brotherhood Front organizations, which like are 501c3s, and that's how they infiltrate the nation through these covert stealth jihad covert entities. They, according to the judge's papers, Judge Salas from Texas, that this is was the ample evidence that they were money laundering money for terror all the way out to the Gaza through these Sakat committees. And I'm not going to get into all the Sakat thing, but the Sakat thing is the charitable donations. And in Islamic jurisprudence, summary of Islamic jurisprudence doctrine, the Sakat category 7, I think it is, where the money has to go to the warriors of Allah. It's right in their doctrine. So it's crazy stuff. Just to give you a little backdrop. So this is what we got right here. We got this global terrorist network. And on the bottom, we got America, $18 trillion debt. We got borders still open after all the bombings we've gone through. Obamacare, 90 million plus unemployed. More immigrants than unemployed in this nation. So this is where we're at. And this, I believe, is like at the top of this thing, New Iran has been the mission of the Clintons. Bush had Iran under heavy sanctions. So I'm not saying that Bush was, perfect, that he had nothing to do with nothing. But when it came to Iran, he had, according to Chris Wallace, he had Iran under heavy sanctions. And he questioned Barrasso. He said the sanctions don't work. So what do we do? But all we have to know, we don't have to know everything. We're on the outside looking in. We know that Iran had hundreds of centrifuges when Bush took over, and he heavily sanctioned them economically. He was crippling them. It was very effective. But the centrifuges still went up to thousands. So that tells you how nuts this regime is, that they sacrificed the Iranian people for their nukes. Because the crazy thing about it is, all this money laundering, the reason why Bank Melli of Iran and all these entities are considered terrorist entities, because the money trail all goes eventually like with the 650 Fifth Avenue case, which is another big money laundering case with property, though, goes to the weapons of mass destruction. So it's crazy. And then we got for a few sidebars, and then we're going to close this thing out. Okay, I just want everybody to understand the influence of this Quad Force, General Soleimani, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Okay, we got Iraq, for example. The Kurds got their spot, ISIS got their spot, and Iran has their spot there. Syria, they're fronting Syria. $6 billion a year, according to Kenneth Timmerman and others. $6 billion a year, fronting Assad, keeping him in power. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard, it's my understanding, according to Kenneth Timmerman, I was listening to an interview by Frank Gaffney from the Center of Security Policy, which deals with homeland security and security abroad and foreign policy, and they're very, very plugged into a lot of different things in American foreign policy. And he was questioning Kenneth Timmerman, who's an expert in all this stuff. He's actually gone over there, wrote a book called Dark Forces in reference to Benghazi. And according to Kenneth Timmerman, he claims that the Quad Force gets money from Iraq. They float this, I'm not getting into all the technicalities, but they float currency, and they garner something like, this is like separate from the Iranian budget. They get this from Iraq. They get like $2 billion from the Iraqi banks, the Quad Force. Crazy stuff. I don't know how they get it with all these sanctions, but they get it. And so we got Iraq, we got Syria, we got, what was the other country? We got Lebanon, which is Hezbollah. General Soleimani controls them. We got, let's see, we got Iraq, Syria, Benghazi. Now, Benghazi, this is where things get really interesting. Benghazi deals with, it's my understanding, based on Kenneth Tillerman's. I haven't actually read the book. I've been reading articles on his book. I got to get the book. And based on based on the fact that Iran is pretty much everywhere with all this global terror, they are the leaders in the global terror network, and they have their connections in each of these terrorist entities. Either they're materially supporting them, Al Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah, and also Afghan Taliban. They're either supporting them materially, they're giving them money, or they're actually engaged in the terrorist attacks. But what they like to do is, because they're a special force, they do a covert. They train them, or they give them weapons or whatever. And basically, so they are the terrorist arm. They are the terrorist arm of this. So what I'm trying to say basically here is this new Iran is basically this like Ottoman Empire of the 1200s, this like apocalyptic vision of this perverse Islamic whatever it is, where it's economically flourishing and has nuclear capability. And it's, quite frankly, they are not creating those nukes to deter. We all know that. So basically, I'm going to wrap this up. And what I'm going to talk about next week. So just so you get this, just so you understand the overview, right? We got this global terrorist network. We have the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the Quad Force, the General Soleimani, Alevi Foundation, that's a corporation, Bank Melli of Iran, Al Qaeda, Iran Nexus, Afghan Taliban, Iran connection, Hamas, Iran connection, Hezbollah, Iran connection. We got CARE, Council of, because understand, this proves this global network, this global terror network, and the involvement of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, the 9/11 terrorist attacks, the plot to bomb World Trade Center, United Nations, 26 Federal Plaza, Lincoln and Holland Tunnel, was done by the Blind Sheik. And also we got the Yemen sheiks, all the funneling of the illegal money transmitting, all the funding to the Al Qaeda and Hamas. And we got the Holy Land Foundation trial. And in addition, see, like with Hamas and Iran, everybody knows that not only, and it's proven, the Treasury Department has the proof that that Bank Melli of Iran, which is funding which is garnering money to the Quad Force and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, they've given money to Hamas, $100 million. And so Hamas is getting money from Iran, and they're getting rockets to drop on Israel. And they dropped, since 2006, 2007, they dropped between 5,000 and 10,000 rockets on Israel. So that's, Iran's behind that as well. And so this is where we are. Iran is pretty much got the testicles and everything. Now with Benghazi, which we'll go into more detail next week, without Kenneth Tillerman's documentation and his findings when he went over and wrote this book, Dark Forces, The Truth Behind Benghazi, Kenneth Tillerman, he's been doing this for well over 25 years, this investigative reporting on the intelligence, both home and abroad. He's the one, he talks about the prisoner's termination 99-1, and how this, Clinton was becoming very sympathetic to the Iranian cause, and he became conceivably an agent of Iran, which I believe is statistically significant. And Obama, obviously, the deal, just based on the nuke deal that he supposed, this fake deal that really, I believe, it's really, I believe Lee Smith, the writer from the Weekly Standard, he believes that Iran already has the bomb because North Korea already has the bomb, and North Korea got the bomb under Clinton, and he provided the same pathway. Let them, relax the sanctions and let them do. And they got the nuke now, and they're getting really ornery, and that's what's going to happen. And we're going to have, so basically, what Obama is looking to do, according to Lee Smith, is he's sitting on global nuclear proliferation, which means the rogue regimes. Not it's the nuclear power is not with just a few. The superpowers, the nuclear power now is with the rogue regimes as well. North Korea, Iran. So Obama's sitting on global nuclear proliferation. So he's just covering himself basically. He could kill. I don't believe that, because based on the way this whole thing has gone, where we have conceivably a new Iran, the Ottoman Empire in the 1200s, and then we have America going in the opposite direction, which is to me unbelievably it's crazy when you really think about it. So this is where we are. I'm going to add in more on this Sunni Shia divide, this connection, the global terror network. I'm going to build this up more. I'll have more data on that. I'll have more data on the Russia's arms. We know that General Soleimani broke the sanctions as when he went over there. A week later, John Kerry's testifying from the Congressional Oversight Committee saying that General Soleimani is going to be sanctioned, I'm paraphrasing, up the wazoo. While a week before that, he was in Russia trying to buy weapons, trying to buy arms from Russia. And it came out that there's some sort of missiles that Russia is looking to give to Iran, I guess sell to Iran. So we're going to talk about that next week. I'll give you more information on this global terror network. In addition, I'll give you more information on the Hamas and on the terror, and then we'll have more on the on this whole thing. I'll beef this up more, and I believe it's statistically significant that since October 21st, 1998, this was a planned, concerted effort by the Obama administration and the Clinton administration together. The Clinton Foundation, which became the Clinton Foundation, and Hillary Clinton sitting as United States Senator and eventually sitting as Secretary of State. That they were, and there's some things like like the Sweden with the Europeans asking the Clinton Foundation to intercede to help them get around the sanctions with Iran because they want to do business with Iran. So that's another big problem that no one wants to talk about because Europe wants to do business with Iran. Europe wants to make money. They don't care about the sanctions of Iran. They think that we're making. I don't know. Some might read it. They think we're making it up. They think they believe it. I don't know. It's crazy. But some of these European countries want to do business with Iran, and they ask the Clinton consulting firm, to help them get around these sanctions. Crazy stuff. So this is where we're at. This is the new model. I updated the model, and I think it's statistically significant. I really do. I'm going to add some more to it, and I'll have more data for next week. And this is the Frankie Russo show, pre-show. America's Team. You got to join and get a T-shirt. RussoNation.tv. America's Team.today. Frankie Russo pre-show number 78. Okay. Anything else? I guess I'll see you 106 in about a half hour. Frankie Russo. Yeah, yeah.